Obesity is a growing health problem. It affects children and adults. It not only affects our health, but also the quality and the length of our life. I would like to share some short video about obesity.
Once, food shortage was the major concern. After the Second World War, technological advances in food production led to a new era that was characterized by an overabundance of inexpensive food and relatively little physical activity. In the decades that followed, other sociocultural shifts continued to contribute to the changing way we ate. Women who had previously controlled most of the average family's food preparation now entered the workforce in significant numbers, and the processed food industry began to capitalize on our need for fast, convenient food. This meant that fewer meals were being cooked at home, and since convenience foods were generally higher in calories than home-cooked meals, the average person's caloric intake increased dramatically. Academics studying the intersection of food and health, like Michael Pollan, have written extensively about the implications of this cultural shift on the way we eat today.
To the extent we outsource our food, first, we eat less healthy food, more salt, fat, and sugar, but we also eat more food because processed food is often designed as snack food and marketed to us as a way to eat continually through the day.
The changes in the way we as a society ate led to the emergence of obesity as a recognized chronic disease with well-defined health consequences. And medical recommendations were made to try and address this growing health crisis.
I would like to speak to the general practice doctor, Dr. Bonnie, about the negative consequences of obesity. Dr. Bonnie, what are the negative effects of obesity?
There are several negative effects of obesity. Most central is your heart, the strain that it can put on your heart, the risk that it brings of heart disease. There is the effects of the increased mass. You'll find often obstructive sleep apnea, where you don't get a sound sleep, you stop breathing while you're sleeping. You are at increased risk of diabetes, so just the way that you metabolize your sugar, those are negative effects. You think about the increased weight and the bearing that it has on your joints. So you find individuals that have arthritis, osteoarthritis in particular, because of the stress that it puts on the joints.
Now, I would like to show a video about how sugar and corn syrup is the main ingredient in many of the food that we consume daily.
In the second half of the 20th century, a lot of attention was focused on reducing saturated fat and total fat in our diets. And the processed food industry responded by giving us what we wanted. But they still had a vested interest in selling their products. So they found other ways to make the reduced fat products taste good. One way they did this was by adding significantly more sugar and other forms of sugar like corn syrup to almost everything we ate. This not only made the reduced fat foods more appealing, but it also increased their shelf life. So the food industry had a huge incentive to add corn syrup and other sweeteners to packaged foods. The resulting increase in our intake of simple sugars fueled our modern epidemics of obesity and diabetes. These shifts in our food consumption patterns have led us to a point in history where a physiological adaptation, our ability to store energy as fat, has become maladaptive. The balance between food availability and energy expenditure has been disrupted, and it's left us with an exponential increase in the incidence of obesity over the past 60 years, an epidemic that the World Health Organization has labeled a worldwide public health crisis.
We see today that many children becoming obese at a young age, It will affect their entire life. Let's talk with Dr. Bonnie. How a child can avoid obesity. How we can help our children to avoid obesity.
That's very important. It begins at home. You think about looking in your cabinets, in your pantry, in your refrigerator. What are the things that you're buying for your children? Avoiding excess fast food, because those things are high in carbohydrates and unhealthy fats and things like that. Again, keeping them off of the soda pop, having them drink more water and be active. So many kids play video games, so they're not spending time outside as much. So making sure that, if you do a family outing or something where your kids are involved in a sport, to allow them to move and to break down the calories that they take in. And just encouraging healthy snacks where if they ask for a cookie, or if chips are around, potato chips or different things like that, maybe have carrot sticks, an apple, substituting those things so that they have other options besides the unhealthy foods that can then lead to obesity.
How many calories the person need to during the day?
That's a good question. It depends on the size of the person. Someone that's taller can eat more calories because they usually weigh more. Usually a rule of thumb is if you have a goal weight of, say, 150 pounds, then you should take in 1,500 calories for a person who is 150 pounds. So if you look at how much they're taking in and the exercise that they're doing, it should be kind of a net of 1,500 calories.
How important is to know all that?
It's important. I mean, I think that is a big part of medicine that's kind of missing, is the nutrition side of that, and we try to educate.
How we can avoid obesity and have a healthy lifestyle. I think that it's important to have a balanced diet and exercise regularly. Dr. Bonis, if a person has obesity already, what they can do to become healthier?
Well, that kind of goes back to even preventing obesity. So, you can, again, talk with your doctor about appropriate exercise. Make sure that, you're not going to strain your heart before you start to lose weight. But again, increasing water intake, trading that out for the sugary drinks, and choosing healthy food options. Sometimes taking a plate and using a smaller plate when you eat, so that it's kind of a mind thing as well, where you feel like, here's my portions, it's filling this plate, so I should be full when I'm done, or at least satisfied. And just looking at what foods are recommended. There's so much information online. One place maybe diabetes.org, because diabetes is associated with obesity. If you look at a diabetic diet, that would help you to combat obesity and come away from that if you are obese. But definitely exercise routine and regimen, introducing that into your lifestyle.
We do not need to lose hope. If we are obese, we can change our lives and be healthy, stronger, and more attractive. I thank you, all of you, for listening to my presentation. I hope that we are ready to change our lifestyle and becoming healthier. I would like to show a funny video of myself overcoming obesity.
¿Qué más quieres de mí? Si he pasado esa prueba de tu amor y no tengo el valor de escapar para siempre de dolor. Demasiado pedí que sigamos en esta hipocresía. ¿Cuánto tiempo más podré vivir en la misma mentira? No, no vayas presumiendo, no, que me ha robado el corazón y no me queda nada más. Sí, prefiero ser el perdedor que te lo ha dado todo y no me queda